All right, good evening, everyone. This is the special December 3rd, 2024 Cottage Grove Economic Development Authority meeting, which I'm calling to order. The first order of business, oh my goodness, if I can talk, is the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'd please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And will G do the roll, please?
Board Member Scott? Here. Pardon me. Board Member Scott? Here. Board Member Carey? Board Member Myers? Board Member Baptiste?
Here.
Board Member Cheetah?
Here.
Vice President Olson?
Here.
President Bailey?
Here. Next item on our agenda real quick here is approval of the minutes, and what we're approving or looking for motion in a second is to approve the November 12th, 2024 meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
All right, we have a motion by EDA Vice President Olson,
Second.
second by EDA Member Cheetah. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Business items, we have none this evening, and we'll move right away then to the main reason we're here this evening, and that is the public hearing, and this is to adopt the final HRA tax levy, and our Finance Director, Brenda Melanowski, is going to take us through this, so welcome this evening, Brenda.
Thank you. EDA Board President, members of the EDA. I'm going to do a short presentation before you hold your public hearing regarding the Housing and Redevelopment Levy here for the City of Cottage Grove, and then you will adopt a resolution to approve that levy. Just a reminder that the EDA here in Cottage Grove has both EDA and HRA authority. And so what that means is that your structure allows for property tax levies for both EDA activities and HRA activities. An EDA levy, which we've utilized in the past, that can be used for those traditional economic development activities. And an HRA levy, it can be used for housing and redevelopment. And so as our community starts to age, we can utilize that for those housing, affordable housing and redevelopment activities. In 2024, so the current year, we have an EDA levy in the amount of $275,000. We use that for economic development activities and some redevelopment activities. Statutorily, by the state, the amount that we can levy is based on our taxable value. So for 2025, we can levy for EDA activities about $1.1 million. So our $275,000 is well below that limit. The EDA levy is included on a property tax bill that comes from Washington County on the same line as the City of Cottage Grove. So for our residents and our businesses, they receive a property tax bill from Washington County, and it has a line for each taxing jurisdiction within the county. So there's a line that says Washington County, and that's the amount of county property taxes that are being levied. The school district has a separate line, and then the city has another line. Our EDA levy is on that line that's called City of Cottage Grove. What we are recommending for 2025 is that we take the $275,000 that we are levying in 2024 and that we create two separate levies. The first levy will be the EDA levy, and then the second portion, or $137,500, will be utilized for the HRA levy. That HRA levy is more transparent for our property tax payers because it's a separate line on the property tax bill. It'll say Cottage Grove HRA. So there's a little more transparency as we start to do those redevelopment and housing type activities currently and in the future. An HRA levy is also subject to limits set by the state. For 2025, it's about $1.178 million that we could utilize for the HRA levy. So this 137,500 that we're recommending is well below those limits. Here's allowable uses of the HRA levy. It was also included in your packet. It's those housing redevelopment activities. For 2025, we have a budget that's included in the packet. What we're recommending is that we utilize that HRA levy in 2025 to pay for staff salaries. We'll move a portion of staff salaries that are currently budgeted in the EDA fund. We'll move those over to the HRA fund. We'll set up a new fund. And then about $25,000 for professional services for housing and redevelopment type activities for Cottage Grove. Included in the packet also were other cities, counties in the state that have currently HRA levies. On this slide here that is in front of you are levies in the metro area for cities that have those HRA levies. We have a new levy, so we were at the bottom of the list at that $137,500. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have before you hold your public hearing.
Fantastic. Thank you, Brenda. EDA members, is there any questions that you might have at this point on this? Yes, Mr. Cheetah.
Yeah, so how do we arrive at that 50-50 split for EDA and HRA?
We looked at half of the salaries that are in the EDA budget, and we moved a portion of those staff time over. And so it was a way to start utilizing those funds that are the EDA funds currently over for that HRA as we determine those costs that we need in the future for those housing and redevelopment activities.
That answer your question, or?
If I can have a follow-up.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess, is there something more they can work on now that they're under the HRA umbrella as opposed to the EDA? Are they going to be specifically working on more housing policy versus EDA? I guess, how are we arriving at who's going where?
Right, and we haven't looked at a staff member as we looked at city budgets each year. Some staff members, they may be budgeted in the general fund, but they might be doing EDA activities and, vice versa. So we haven't looked at specific staff salaries that will be doing that. But as a reminder, we have that housing study that's coming back here early in 2025. And so there will be staff time as we work through that housing study for that affordable housing component. And so I would think that the community development director, the EDA director, the city administrator, those would be some of those staff salaries that would be utilized in that HRA levy.
Fair enough. Yeah, so yep, I think that's all I got for now.
Okay. Any other members have a quick question? Yes, Mr. Jean-Baptiste.
Yeah, so I do have a quick question. So previously, they were under both the EDA and the HRA, and I believe that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you had mentioned the maximum levy for the EDA had been like 1.7 million or something along those lines. But now that they're split into two, do they each have a maximum levy of 1 million, so the total that they could raise together now becomes 2 point something million?
That is true. When we did a 10-year financial management plan for the city just recently in 2023, there wasn't the thought that we would be levying that amount of money. But yes, they do both have a separate authority to levy up to those amounts, yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Cheetah.
Yeah, and I guess on the levy question, does a levy increase to either the EDA or the HRA come to the EDA itself, or is that just a city council question?
Good question. The HRA levy would come in front of the EDA. A EDA levy is set by the city council.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things is I think it brings up a good point. I mean, our intent has not been, at least not that I can see in the foreseeable future, that we would levy to the max. The whole idea here, I think, is a little bit more on the transparency side as we go forward. So when you talk about the half and the half, eventually, do I believe, and I mean, our recommendation at some point would be that the HRA, if you will, would take 100%, as it relates to the amount of money that currently is being split between our general fund and then the HRA. So matter of fact, this year, with the budget that I believe we'll be approving tomorrow night, the normal 275 or whatever it is, we just cut that in half. So we didn't raise the levy higher for the general taxes in Cottage Grove. We kept it. We didn't take above 275. We kept it half and half. You know what I'm saying? We're not raising this amount and then raising this amount. It's flush. I know that sounds really weird, and maybe the general public who might be watching, but our intent is to, so if people are saying, hey, what are you doing with the EDA money or the HRA money, which is under the EDA, this is what it is. And one of the challenges, if you saw a bunch of the cities out there, one of the big things that we do get redevelopment opportunities that come to our city. And yes, we do have some money in our EDA trust fund, but the reality is it's limited. And if we can build up some revenue in this particular fund, then when these bigger projects come by, whether it's a redevelopment for housing or whatever like that, we can actually utilize a bigger pot of money. I believe, if I heard right, and maybe I'll look at Jennifer, see if she remembers this or not, I think the levy or Woodbury has, what, 2 million in theirs? Do you remember by chance?
That's the last number I heard.
Yeah. So like Woodbury's got an HRA levy of about 2 million that they're kind of sitting there right now, waiting for a big, if you will, some other developer to come through where they can put some of that additional money towards a project for affordable housing in Woodbury. Just using them as an example, because I remember seeing that out in the news. So, any other comments, questions? Okay, so I know there's nobody in the audience, but to be official, we do need to open the public hearing and see if there was anybody that wants to speak. And unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever, there is nobody in the audience this evening, so I will then go ahead and close the public hearing. And for the EDA members, before you is a recommendation from our staff on this proposal. And if somebody wants to make a motion and a second, we would need to do that to go forward.
I can make the motion.
Okay?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-13, authorizing a final levy to be set on taxable property of the City of Cottage Grove, Washington County, Minnesota for fiscal year 2025, a special benefit tax levy not to exceed $137,500 per the proposed 2025 budget on file with the city.
Okay, so I have a motion by EDA member Scott. Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, second by ED member Jean Baptiste. Any further discussion? Yes, Mr. Cheetah.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be the only one who votes no on this, but I'll state my concerns publicly.
Yep.
I'm concerned that we're going to come back next year and we're going to double this 137, and we're going to pass it right now because it's not an increase, but next year it'll be twice what it is, and the following year it'll be twice what it is, and it's going to snowball and snowball and snowball, and I don't know. It's not something I'm interested in.
Okay, sounds good. Any other comments, EDA members? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1. Okay. There is no other, but thank you, Brenda. There is no other business, there is no workshop, and so literally by 6:15, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion by EDA Vice President Olson. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by EDA member Scott. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
We're not adjourned?
Oh, do we need all of us?
No. Okay. All right, we're adjourned. I didn't know you wanted.